As the world becomes more modernized, certain skills and craftsmanship become more rare. Because of this, older generations clash with younger generations that want life to be faster and easier. This raises the question, does this make being handy, do-it-yourself, or DIY skills irrelevant? I am your host, Jadon, and this is Spotcast. I am joined by my guests, Jonathan.
Hello.
Angel.
Hello.
Bob.
Hi.
And William.
Great to be here.
So, what do you guys consider DIY/handy skills? Anyone want to give their take?
I think that DIY skills mainly pertain to home improvement, if your car breaks down, or if you have a busted pipe, or any miscellaneous mishap that you might come across, or if you're trying to build something as well.
I'd have to agree. A lot of handiwork goes into the skills and jobs you just mentioned. So I think if you're doing it yourself, then you're going to be using hand tools and other similar things.
Okay, but how do you guys feel that and think about how DIY/handy skills, how could they improve your daily life? Anyone?
So I generally think DIY skills are pretty handy, not everyday life, but whenever the situation comes up, it's quite useful to know what to do at that moment instead of having to rely on the internet as we have it now, to do something that would otherwise take a couple minutes if you knew how to do it.
I don't really mind having to rely on the internet that much in order to do my DIY skills that as they come up, but because honestly, I don't think that it's really worth my time to learn how to do all these DIY skills on the rare event that they do come up. I think it's much more efficient, or just for me at least, it's more useful to just look it up on the internet when the time comes.
I think it's helpful to have DIY skills, so whenever you want to do something, you can do it, or if your car breaks down, you could fix that without having to call somebody.
What do you guys think has contributed to the perception that teens and young adults are incompetent of doing any of these?
I think it's sort of our accessibility to information. With our smartphones and the internet, as I mentioned before, we have access to so much. We could search up how to do something in an instant. Having to really know how to do it by heart isn't really as necessary as a main source. So having our phones has just really been a big benefit, and sort of maybe why we don't really know how or what kind of DIY skills we should have.
To touch up what Angel just said, many people of the past would have to learn these skills from mentors and teachers, or read a book and take it to heart, so they'd be able to use it constantly, because they would most likely end up for a job, and they didn't have the easy access of Google or anything similar to just pull up information instantly and use it.
Okay, but if you guys don't feel like that your DIY skills aren't great enough or anything like that, what skills do you have that might be more important to any of you?
I think that being able to code is very important to me, and I think it's also a skill that I use in my daily life, not just when I'm doing coding work, building a website or coding a game or anything like that. I also think it's useful just because of knowing how the internet works allows me to be able to troubleshoot things the same way that knowing how a car works might help someone be able to troubleshoot what's wrong with the car. And I think that because computers are more likely to have problems with them or bugs than cars usually do, I think that it's much more useful to me to be able to know how to fix a computer problem than it is for me to fix a car problem, because computer problems are a lot harder to look at how to fix, while car problems or the information for them is very widely available.
I have skills with computer hardware and software, and I think that's really important in today's world with the growing use of computers, and I just think that's really useful.
Why do you guys think the older generations value these skills so much?
I genuinely think it's sort of a point of jealousy. not jealousy extreme, but it's that we have it so much easier than they had it. We have our phones, as I mentioned before. We can pull up information instantly. They might not have had that. They had to either find someone who knew how to do it or learn it themselves through a book. And I think it sort of stems from that we have it easier than they do.
How can we break this perception of incompetence that older generations tend to have of us?
I think that we can break the perception of incompetence by showing that we can do these things and that we're not incompetent and lazy like some of them.
At my high school, we have an engineering program that introduces us to a lot of power tools and hand tools and just machinery, and I think it's a very good experience for all the students who are taking that class, because there's a lot of DIY skills that can be taken away from learning how to use a drill to simply drill a hole in wood, or use an air compressor for a job. There's a lot of versatility in what people are learning, and I don't think it's dying.
Personally, I don't think that it's our responsibility to prove them wrong, because if they don't want to take the initiative to prove themselves wrong, because the evidence that we aren't lazy or incompetent is pretty clear, if they don't really want to take the initiative to break that perception themselves, I don't think it's our responsibility to break it for them.
Good point. What values the opinions of the older generations have to you guys?
I think it generally comes down to it's their opinion of us. Well, it's an opinion, so whether you take that opinion personally, it's all up to you. You can take it as criticism and improve upon it. Maybe you want to prove them wrong, or you can just take it as an opinion and it's just something they said about you.
I don't really care if a opponent thinks I'm lazy. As long as whatever I'm doing keeps me alive, I think that I'm doing fine.
Okay. Do you guys have any final thoughts?
I think that the whole perception that we're lazy and incompetent and that we don't really know how to do anything and not knowing stuff offhand makes us worse off than they were is kind of I don't really believe in any of that, and I just think that the whole perception that they have is kind of ridiculous.
I sort of believe it. I mean, we could criticize them on how not being as caught up on this digital age we're having. Sometimes they might not even know how to use their phones or access social media.
I think there's always going to be a tension in between the generations, between who can do what.
And that wraps this episode of this podcast. Special thanks to Bob, Angel, Jonathan, and William for coming on and providing their hot takes. I'm Jadon for Spot 127.